Hello and welcome to another week of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair, Credit and Financial Tips with me, Michelle Green. Yes, yes, yes. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We are so excited that you are here. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button on the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair YouTube channel. Make sure that you are following us everywhere at KB.Michelle Green. That's right. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok. We are on Threads everywhere out there that social media is there. So listen, today we are going to get into some more credit and financial tips. We're going to be talking about today, does it really matter where the money comes from? Does it really matter where the money comes from for your personal credit? And even if you are an entrepreneur out there, that where does the money come from for your business credit? So we are going to dive in, but first we always want to make sure that we understand from a credit perspective. You as an entrepreneur, you as an individual, start thinking about the business owners that I teach, but you as an individual who is concerned about your personal portfolio, what I want you to know first is that you have to understand the initial foundation of what credit is. So we will always start out with explaining what credit actually is so that we are not confused about what it is that we need to be doing and how it is that we need to go about our financial portfolio. So first off, we want to say that credit is something that we don't have the money for right now. So we have to understand that when we decide that we don't have enough money for a vehicle, we don't have enough money for our housing, we don't have enough money for our like a credit card to purchase some clothes or shoes or just our basic living expenses. When we don't have enough money for those types of things, then what do we need to do? We need to make sure that we go out and gain credit. We have to have a good reputation with banks and with credit unions or financial institutions so that we will be able to gain credit with those companies. So, what are we actually doing when it comes to credit? We're saying that to the bank or to the credit union, we are telling them that we want to use their reputation with their money and we want to use our agreement to pay them back. So we're looking at the reputation of the bank, we're looking at the reputation of ourselves, and we are saying, hey, I'm trustworthy to pay this money back over a period of time. I don't have a lump sum to pay two or three or $400,000 for a home. So I'm going to trust that you are going to actually allow me to borrow this money. And then in exchange, I want you to say that you're going to trust me to pay that money back. Now, I really don't like to use the word trust, but in the credit industry and in finances, this is a word that is interchanged all the time within the credit industry. So even though I know that we shouldn't be trusting anyone but God, I will say that in the credit industry, the word trust is oftentimes coming up in the application process. Okay. All right. So when we look at the fact that we are doing credit, we are establishing a relationship with a financial institution because we don't have all the money to pay for that vehicle. It's $25,000, it's $50,000, it's $75,000. Whatever the amount of our vehicles are, whatever the amount of any line of credit is, we don't have all the money to take care of the whole full balance at the time, and that is the reason why we obtained credit. So many of us, when we're starting out just out of high school, we're graduating and we're getting into debt, our mindset is definitely not on the fact that we only want to obtain credit for the purpose of being able to pay it back over time so we can keep a good reputation, right? But the problem lies into the whole credit equation. We get a little bit tired of paying the person back. And so we end up having late payments. We having charge off write offs. We have collection accounts. And I hate that we have to go through that process, but that's just a part of the game. Now, what we do want to really begin to understand and really begin to start diving deep into is looking at what it is that we have obtained and how it is that we're going to position ourselves to pay the money back that we have borrowed. Now, when it comes to us looking at our portfolio financially, we want to look at where does your income come from? Are you looking at the income from a job that you're on? And has someone told you that it's not right for you to work on the job? And so you have this mindset that, oh my goodness, I'm working on this job, but I really don't want to be here and it's not paying me enough money. So one of the things that I was just thinking about that we all have had a problem with, and I believe that this happens because we are trained in this mindset to believe that, we grow up, we get a job. Some of us work when we're teenagers, we go into our 20s, we get a better paying job, we have some benefits maybe, and then, it's just a cycle that we continue on forever until we retire. Okay, some of us kind of venture off into entrepreneurship, so we might open up our own business, but we never change the mindset of the employee. So most of us who are entrepreneurs, we're out there working like we are still on the job because we don't have anybody working within our companies. But that's a different conversation. Go to KB.Michelle Green for Wednesday nights behind the scenes for information and tips on entrepreneurship. Today, we are focusing on where does the income come from. So I just want to stop right here and talk to you about where does your income come from? Are you on the job? Have you been on the job for a long period of time? Maybe you just started a new job. Maybe you got a new position. Maybe you're transitioning. You are on the job, but maybe you are also thinking about getting a second income, which would mean that you would either open up a business or you would take on a second job. So what I want you guys to understand is that on the credit report, there is this profile information. Your credit report consists of three categories, and the first category that it consists of is the profile information. Whenever we at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair look at a credit report, we're looking at where does your income come from? Are you working and have you been working over the last umpteen years? Or are you a new person that's just now starting the workforce and you don't have any history of employment? So I want you guys to understand that when it comes to credit, the final result is that the money has to be paid back. So don't sign contract agreements that you have no intention of paying back, because that's always going to breed a negative or a low credit score. And we all know that. But we don't really understand how not to focus on the debt after we have obtained credit. We focus so much on the debt that we forget about the root problem of all credit is income. The root problem of all of our issues with money and finances and credit always stems from where we're earning the money from. So let's look at the fact that there is a profile section of your credit report. In the profile section of your credit report is a list of your employers. And your employers are very important to show on your credit report, because if there is no employment, if you don't show that you've ever worked a job, and if you have no clue of what's on the credit report, then shame on you. You need to go to Kingdom Builders Credit Repair. You need to sign up with us today so that we can make sure that the right type of employment history is on your report. But going into the profile, what we look for is what is the name of your employer. some of us, like we've seen over the years, and again, we've been doing this like 30 plus years. If you've been watching us, you already know that. But if you didn't happen to know that, I've been doing this since I was 19 years old, and I started out myself with gaining credit from being able to purchase a house within 3 months after I learned how to repair credit for myself. Okay. And so we see all the time on the credit report either that we list ourselves as under employment history as being a student. I have seen where we have listed ourselves as a homemaker. Maybe we are a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home dad, whatever the circumstances of the situation is. Or we will list that we have worked for a temp service, and the temp service, the student and the homemaker are not forms of employment. Okay, so when we put on our credit report that we have been someone that has been at home and we're a homemaker, that does not define an income because there's no income that comes from that. If you look at the student is going to school to get educated so that they can gain more a higher paying job. Let's just say that. So they're going to school so that they can get a higher paying job. So being a student and having that under your employment history is not going to benefit you at all. And then if we look at the person who has all of the temp service jobs, okay, maybe you've been trying to find employment and you've been having a really hard time and you're trying to figure out exactly like what is really going on. I'm going from all of these different temp services from one company to another company, and you're trying to figure out like what is going on. I don't understand why I can't just solidify a permanent job instead of a temporary job, right? Or maybe you have been working temporary for a temporary service like whomever. All right. So I won't call any names. I was getting ready to call some names, but I'm not going to do that. Not gonna do that. But anyway, so the point is that if you have been working for a temp service for a long period of time, one of the mistakes that we see all the time is that the temp service is listed as your employment history. But the temp service is not the company itself of where you are working at physically. So what we want to do in order for us to have a improved credit report is we want to look at what are the companies that we have listed on our credit report. First of all, we need to understand that there are tiers of income. And the tiers of income, and I'm going to only give you two because we talk about this in our business school. And in our business school, we talk about all of the different tiers of income. But for the purposes of your personal credit and your finances, you need to know that either you are listed as an employee or you're listed as an employer. So if you do have a business, your business will exceed the level of an employee. On your credit report, if you are a business owner and you don't have your business name listed, and you as either a manager or officer or the CEO of your company or a founder, then that is going to take away points from your credit. So let's talk about what it is. What am I saying here? I am actually saying that as a person who starts out working in the workforce, the first tier of income is always going to be the person that goes and gets the job. It's not that there's anything wrong with someone that is working a job. It is just a form of income. But because we get so tangled up in what the world is talking about as far as how we earn our money, we think that because someone works a job, that that's a bad thing. But the truth of the matter is, it should not matter where your income is coming from. Let me say that again. It should not matter where your income is coming from. Okay, why not? Because the bottom line is, can you pay back the things that you have accrued as debts? Can you take care of those bills? Can you take care of those utilities? Can you take care of the expenses that you have incurred yourself in your name, even if it is a joint account? It's still your responsibility to get that bill, get that debt paid back. So stop believing the hype of, oh my God, I need to be so consumed around the idea that if I work a job and that job is paying my bills, if it's paying my debts, then I should be more concerned about going into entrepreneurship and having a business or a second job or something extra that is going to bring in another income. It is absolutely fine wherever the income is coming from, because at the end of the day, what matters is the name of the company that you work for, to show that you have a good history over at least the 5 to 10 year pastime of working and earning a living. So I don't want you to get so consumed by what goes on in the social media streets and what goes on in conversations day to day, especially on your job or especially in your business. I want you to really just begin to focus on, how are you earning enough money to take care of the things that are on your credit? And if you haven't been focused on that part, that's the part that you really need to begin to focus on, because at the end of the day, the creditor, the lender, they are simply looking for, are you a person who consistently brings in money? Are you a person who consistently works? And work is not defined by if you are an employee versus you being an employer. Work is defined by, do you do something to earn a income? All right, so I just want to crash, like kill all of the buzz around, okay, I'm working a job and I don't have a business, or I'm working a job and that one job can pay for all of the expenses, all of your credit items, all of the things that are on your debt. Then position yourself for a higher income. If the job can pay that amount of money so that you can relieve yourself from trying to figure out how you're going to pay all of this debt back, how you're going to manage living every day, how the groceries are going to be filled up in your household kitchen. Like, what is really going on when we think about, okay, well, I'm working this job and I know it's not enough money, so what's wrong with you going to get a second job? What's wrong with you going to go and start a business? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that, because back to the credit report. What happens with the credit report is that you are able to show the employer, and you're able to show how long you've been there, and you're even able to show your position. So when it comes to us looking at the credit report, what are the lenders looking for? They're looking for a history of you being on that job for a while or in that business for a while. They're also looking at, if you do have a business, is your business a legit company? Are you set up properly? Do you know what things you need to have in place so that they can see that you are for real as a business owner? Okay, so if you're interested in that part, like I said, you would go to www.kbbullc.com. That is our business side of things. But if you're focused on your personal credit, listen, you got to understand that it's really not about the fact that you are on that job. You have to figure out and focus on not so much the debts and, oh my God, I got to pay this bill this week. I got to pay that bill this week. I'm freaking out because it's so much that I got on my plate. But you need to be more consumed around, where are you going to get the income from, so that your credit report will show that you have a great work history, so that even if you are an entrepreneur, even if you have a business, what's the length of time you've been in that company? When was the date that you actually established the organization legally? Okay. Are you legit? And can you prove that there is an income coming from that business? So that when you look at your personal credit, there's not a hesitation for creditors to give you more credit, higher credit limits. There's not a hesitation for them to wonder, like, what is your position? And if you are the CEO, are you the only person in that company working? Are you the only person that is generating sales in that organization? Are you the only person that is receiving an income in that organization? So the lenders are looking for the fact that you have to have enough money to take care of whatever it is that you already accrued on your credit report. So if we just shift our minds a little bit, if we begin to think about, okay, well, this whole thing, this whole idea is not around so much the debt that I've been so consumed with and freaking out about and stressing me out, right? It's really about whether or not you are understanding that the income that you're receiving, if it's not enough, how are you going to make it enough? How can you make the amount of money that you need to make in order for you to get to the next level so that you can be comfortable and pay your bills on time, pay your debts, all the things that are on your credit, and make sure that you keep a good reputation with the creditor, with the lender? See, it is really hard for a lot of people to discipline themselves when it comes to finances, when it comes to money. So it's most of the time, it's not an issue around, do we really make enough money to take care of the responsibilities that we have? Because 9 times out of 10, we do make enough money. It's just a problem around us thinking that we got to do certain things to take money from places that we have promised a lender or a creditor that we're supposed to give to them. So we decide, like I talked about last week, we go shopping, we eat out, we groom, we look nice, we got the nice clothes, we fly, and we're looking good out there, and we're living a life on social media as though we are the greatest and the best and we the highest paid. But then I see a lot of things on the backside where we are fooling ourselves because the credit shows every time that the numbers are not there for our income. The numbers are not necessarily there for our income in the sense of we are taking the money from places that we should be paying so that we can keep a really good reputation with our credit. So what I'm saying is that we got to change the way that we think about where the money comes from. We got to begin to venture out. When was the last time you looked for a higher paying job? When was the last time you decided to get promoted in the job that you're currently on? When was the last time you decided to further your education so that you can earn a higher living? When was the last time that you decided that you're going to take the business, that side hustle that you've been talking about, and hopefully it's not a hustle, but anyway, that's a different conversation. I keep wanting to go into that business side. But when we talk about being business owners, when we talk about having a second option of income, are you really taking that thing seriously? Are you really looking at how much money you really need to earn from the second business, from the second job? Are you thinking about the type of clientele that you need to talk to? Are you thinking about the type of atmospheres and the different money that you need to create within whatever you're doing, whatever product or service that it is? Are you really taking that seriously, or are you just doing what you're doing for show? Are you trying to impress the people around you? So that's why I'm saying to you right now, you have to take this thing serious. You got to figure out, where is the money going to come from? Our lives are not designed for us to just go to work, create the debt, and be irresponsible and never ever have a good reputation with a financial institution. That is not our livelihood. We cannot talk about accruing wealth if we're consistently making the decision that we're going to take from what it is that we are earning and we're going to do what we really want to do with it instead of keeping our commitment. Our commitment is to the people that we have signed our names to. We are the ones that said, hey, I don't have enough money today. So if you let me borrow it, I promise I will pay it back. And there's a contract agreement that is brought up from you saying that you're going to pay them back. So why are we constantly overlooking our responsibilities? Because we are really not focused on the fact that we have not the right discipline for our income. We have to change the way that we think. We have to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is in the income. So where you make the money from is not the most important. If you need to work two jobs, if you need to work two jobs and a business, you need to figure out your schedule. You need to figure out your life so that you can be better at your finances and your credit. So that's where I'm coming from today. Listen, we got to change how we do life. We can be wealthy. We can have generational wealth. We can be able to accrue all of these things. We can have savings. We can have investments. We can have all of the things, the big house on the hill, the nice car that we want to drive, if we would just focus on the root of the problem. It's not that you got to stay at the same place forever. You can change. You can do something different today. There is opportunity for you to make a living in a different way and earn a higher income. So please take my advice and go out there and figure out what it is that you need to do today so that you can change your financial portfolio. Your income is the root of everything. Make the changes so that you can become the person that you really want to see. Okay, that's all I have for today. Listen, if you're not subscribed to the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair YouTube channel, make sure that you sign up today. And if you're interested in joining our credit repair program, you can go to either our website, that's www.kingdombuilderscreditrepair.com, or you can reach out to us by phone at 844-522-7552. Or you can also just connect with us through social media. We take messages all the time from social media. So we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. Go to KB.Michelle Green everywhere. Make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you set your notifications because you don't want to miss what we're going to talk about every Friday from 12:30 to 1 with these credit and financial tips that will set your life on fire financially. Thank you for watching again, and I hope that you have enjoyed and take away from this what you have learned by clicking down below in the comment section and letting me know exactly what it is that you got from today's message. Thank you again for watching, and I hope that you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.